when I got in there, I had this tattoo right here. And once you get in prison, they approach you, and everybody's nosy as fuck, man. And they're like, "Oh, you got tattoos?" Like, "Yeah, man, I did this one myself. Lied. I don't know why, but I lied because I did draw the letters, but I didn't do the tattoo." So I was like, whatever. Try to, first day.
Yeah.
And then by the time lunch or dinner hits, these guys who like first seen me or whatever, they got a prison machine. They got ink.
You're in there one day.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Here's your setup."
And then they got a kid, young as me, fucking with a stencil on 5150, ready to get tattooed. They want to see what I can do. Everything, you got to prove everything in there. Yeah. They want to see what you can do. I said, well, I've never used that kind of, they call it in there a gun, obviously. Everybody hates that, but that's what they call it. And I said, never used one of those before. And they're like, well, let's just see what you can do, man. Your work looks good. I'm like, I'd rather not, man. Hey, man, let's see what you can do. Like, starting to get, cocky. I'm like, okay, man, chill out. I go to tattoo this guy. They got me gloves. It's not like what people think. It's clean in there. Mm-hmm. People are dirty, but a lot of times, most people are clean or, OCD in there. You have time. You think about that stuff. Mm-hmm. So, the pattern's on. I said, all right, man, it's been a while since I worked out there, and I've never used this machine. You cool? He's like, yeah, man, I'm good. I just want a tattoo. He's a kid. 4 other guys sitting in a room, maybe smaller than this, trying to watch me. And I start shaking. And I don't know you're supposed to pull the skin and hold it. So I go to, I'm going to just, lean on him and just, draw. Right. I try to sketch it like a scratcher would. I've never tattooed before, ever. I go to put the line, and I'm bouncing everywhere on his chest. And the dude looks at me, kind of nudges me, saying, "Hey, man, what the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, I told you I'd never used this before. You got to give me a second, man. I've never used this little machine." And he's like, "You owe us for the ink, and don't fuck that youngster up." Then they left. I told the kid, I said, "Hey, dude, I've never tattooed before. He's got tattoos." And I said, "Can you help me do this? Can you walk me through? I can do letters, man. Just help me out. What am I doing wrong?" He said, "Well, everybody else kind of holds the skin tight." I'm like, all right. So he's holding his fucking skin for me, and I'm still not holding it because I don't know you're supposed to push. I still kind of just doing this. It came out like shit, dude.
Oh my God.
It came out like shit.
Shit's about to go down. I'm feeling something in my spirit.
Chats and Tatts with Aaron, Della, Vedova.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Chats and Tatts with me, your host, Aaron, Della, Vedova. As maybe some of you know this, maybe not, but man, I love a good story of redemption. And this is one we have here today. Life can be harsh, and I don't know. I just feel like it's too easy to judge others that are maybe not in a good spot. It's really easy when you're not. Maybe you're in a good spot. Maybe you're in the good spot and they're not. And then you're kind of looking down on them. But the reality I've learned after 53 years is you get to know somebody deep enough and you start saying things like, well, what would I have done if I was in those circumstances? Would I be where that person's at? And the answer for me, resoundingly, is yeah, I probably would be. So I think it's important for me and everyone listening to realize if you're doing well, man, just realize you probably had a lot of good circumstances, or maybe not. Maybe you rose above. Either way, it needs to be acknowledged fairly and not passing judgment on others that are having a rougher go at it, So I think this story kind of bounces around with those ideas today. And it also kind of comes towards really good tattooing. The guy I have on today is a tattoo artist. I don't know. I would probably call his work realism with some surrealism, meaning he doesn't just always follow a photograph. He also adds his own artistic flair to it. And then there's a good amount of horror theme running through his work as well. And we'll get more into that later. So with all that being said, please welcome my guest today, Anthony Prince, otherwise known to most people out there as simply Prince.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you being here all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. I should add that. He currently works at Ritual Addictions and Tattoo in Phoenix. And he also owns Tilted Crown Clothing.
Right.
He's a fashion man. All right. He likes his fashion. You look good today, by the
Thank
way, I
you.
can tell.
So do you.
Thank you. But yeah, so those are the things you do now. And you're married to Ashland, right?
Right.
Your wife. Of how long?
10 years.
10. You don't have to get exact.
It's coming up. Yeah, 10 years.
10 years with her. But you also are a father, 21-year-old daughter.
Right.
Obviously a previous situation
On her
before.
third DUI.
Oh.
Yeah, we're working on that, hopefully.
Let's get into some stuff here.
Yeah.
We had a nice conversation on the phone, and you kind of told me a bit about your life, and that's when I was like, dude, you got to come on my show. This story's crazy. So I'm going to let you tell it, but let's you can start a little, or wherever you want to start, but let's start your story. How you were born, your circumstances, and what led you to here today.
So if we were starting out in the beginning, I was born in New York. My mom left my dad and moved over there. We didn't have really anything.
Oh, you're still with your mom.
Right.
Living with the uncle.
Right.
He's helping out.
Right. We're
Okay.
just staying there kind of, maybe there, maybe another aunt's. But at the time, it was here in California.
Where in California?
I don't really know, to be honest. I could call him or ask him.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
But that was, obviously people, when you lean on other people, it gets to be too much. Maybe like they don't want to say it because you're family, but it's time to move on,
Right.
is what I'm thinking. I don't know 100%. It's just what I'm told. So we moved to Arizona. My
now
mom
you're
gets,
just you and your mom.
yeah. My dad comes back into the picture for 2 or 3 years, right? Doesn't work out. He's a heavy drinker, man. He did. He got into close to a 16-car pileup that he created from. It was I don't know, man. Maybe 20-mile radius, just blowing through cars, just not caring. He finally flips his Camaro. Doesn't even harm himself. Maybe a toe. Everything else was. Everybody else got hurt. He goes to prison. Now it's me and my mom. Stepdad comes
You
in.
kill anybody?
No.
Oh.
No, just clipped a bunch of people. Just kind of like race carring through people.
Right.
Drunk. Anyways, he goes to jail. I don't really see him. No visit, whatever. Normal school. Stepdad comes in. Doesn't really work out too much. I get in trouble. Go to a foster care. Live with them for a little bit. They in the public eye were helping kids stay out of trouble and off drugs. They had a boxing gym, and we trained every day. And they kind of had kids that they would pull off the street to help. But there was another side of that. There was stealing. There was robbing. There was violence. And I lived with them until I was about 17.
So to be a part of that family, it was like being a part of a gang.
Cult. I would say a cult, maybe a crime mob, because they were very strict. They had rules. It wasn't a free-for-all like some of the gangs. There was rules.
But you
man.
worked for them. You were expected to earn your...
One summer, I was out there with all the other kids digging a fucking pool with shovels. And they were getting paid for an actual pool job. They had a company, real company, that made money that in the community was respected.
So they, through foster care, they created this like child labor force.
Right, yeah. And they were getting, the food stamps, getting the cash assistance, and, we would get what we get. And what the funny thing is they used to tell me is, we were putting a roof over your head, because I wouldn't get money for the jobs I was doing. You're getting paid by living here. Your rent is the, you know what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying?
You're going to work off this roof.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how all the kids were doing it. And there's 7, 8 kids per family member. So there was a family member with 8 kids, a couple other families who did the same thing, and they were a tight-knit group. Organized crime.
That's interesting.
Well.
I've heard a lot of different ways criminal organizations form themselves, but I hadn't heard that one before.
No, it was in public eyes. Like I said, they had cops that were let them do anything, and they had they were clean cut. Only two of the family members had like visible tattoos, and those were more of the like gangsters, but it was more of a clean cut type of organized. Anyway, so I lived with them. I ran away a couple times. They'd find me. They'd beat the shit out of whoever was hiding me. So word gets around. You can't help them.
Don't help these kids.
You can't. No. And you know what's funny is I quit going to school for a little bit because I'd go to school and then take off, And, I'm just like every other kid. I got in some trouble. Like, I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? And I actually liked some of the stuff they were doing because growing up, this was like they made it look good. They made it look fun. Like, this is like kind of like a game. Like, go and see how much you can steal. You can't get that.
Well, okay, so we're moving on. I heard they got you out digging swimming pools, which is at least legitimate work. But now it's
all the same thing, yeah.
But now they're having you do illegal shit.
So check this out. We would be going to a job, right? And let's say the job requires up to $3,000 or $4,000 worth of equipment or supplies from Home Depot, right? They would go in, purchase a cart, make this same exact cart up, right? Walk out and buy the first one, hand me the receipt. I would be walking right behind them with another cart of the same exact thing. The first cart would be returned to another Home Depot down the road. They would get their money back, and we'd have the supply still.
People are so, man, you think of the
and I wasn't getting shit for this.
It's just, imagine if they focused that creativity towards the positive, like that's
I mean, like I said, it was organized. It wasn't just something that just over. They had been doing this, they're not doing it anymore, and I'm not going to name names, but yeah, it was pretty crazy.
They got popped?
Eventually, yeah. So anyways, 17, I run away. I find a girl at the time. I kind of try to finish
Before you go
school.
too far, I've heard they've got you basically extorting you for labor.
Right.
They've got you helping them with little petty crime.
Yeah, but like I said, and I didn't mind some of the shit because like it became fun to me, and this is all I had.
Well, you're a kid, dude. You how do I say it? Like, your normal is who raises you, and that was probably like you figured this is kind of like normal.
Right.
Yeah, I totally get that. And it's funny. I'm watching the Menendez brothers documentary right now, and it really highlights this. Like these. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're lying, but from what I'm gathering here, they just figured their dad raping them because he would tell them like, this isn't gay sex. This is like the Romans and the Spartans. I'm teaching you to be tough. So you bend over, and this is going to hurt.
Fuck that.
And they believed him.
They don't know any better, but they know in their mind something ain't right, I'm sure.
They did. And, of course, I'm sure now they're grown men that have read books and have went to counseling, and they realized the bullshit. But the point is, you take a child, you tell them, you're the adult.
Learn behavior.
Yeah, learn behavior. Exactly. So, but what I was going to get at there is they've got you doing the labor and they got you doing the petty crime, but is there drug shit moving around?
So that's one thing. It was drugs were no. It was clean. Like I said, I always say this clean cut. That's the best I could describe it. Everybody was always dressed well, uniform. We all moved together. Nobody was like, if we went somewhere, everybody knew that we were there. And it looked good. It was militant. No drugs, no drinking. Like I said, there was one or two other guys who kind of did the street style, but they were always getting in trouble. The other main ones were always flying straight and always getting their way. It was smooth, man. So
it wasn't. We'll get to that part.
Yeah.
So all right. So then 17, I stopped you. Sorry.
That's good.
You run off.
Yeah.
Why did you run away?
Dude, I was tired of it.
You were.
I would get fucking tasered, man. Like with the cattle prongs, like the big cattle prongs. You know which ones?
By
those
who?
are. Not
By
the
them?
little one. Yeah. Because listen, I'm not saying I'm a badass, right? But I did train from 11 or 12 years old, and I'm talking training boxing with them every day up until 17. And boxing is a sport, obviously, and everything's improved, fighting's improved. But I can defend myself, right? And when they got me, when I first came to their home, right, I was weak. I didn't know anything how to defend myself. Well, you take every day of running 3 miles, training for 2 hours every day to 17. You can't handle me no more. You know what I mean? So,
Dude, that's gnarly. You must have been fucking, like a machine.
well, it was work. It was school first, work, and then boxing. There was no questions asked. That's every day, no matter what. It didn't matter. We wake up, we ran 2 miles. We went to school, we came back. Immediately after school, went straight to work. And then after work, we boxed to the gym, went to the gym, right? 2 hours of training and another 2 to 3 mile run, doesn't matter. Every Sunday we ran South Mountain. South Mountain's a pretty big mountain out in Phoenix. We'd run the dirt road up, which is for horse trails, and then the streets down every Sunday. So some of their training means not just sparring, not hitting the bag. A training session for them, we might be in the intersection. Get out and fuck that dude up right there. Could be a grown man. Get out and fuck him up. You know,
Whoa.
That's training. Because why? Because it's street fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I see how they were pitching it.
Right. So what I'm getting to is like they couldn't control me anymore. I started barking back, I guess you could say.
Right.
And so they got something for me. And I was the oldest of the kids, so
You were like a leader.
right. So they came home with the fucking cattle prong, dude. And I kind of laughed at it. I was like, whatever, you know. These fuckers hit me with PVC pipe before. They fucked me up plenty of times. Whatever. It's something new, you know. Well, the first time it came out, I laughed. And they said, you're not going to laugh at me, boy. They always say, boy. I was getting mouthy with him. And we were in the house. I didn't think he was going to do nothing because he doesn't like his shit broke. But he fucking hit me in the leg, right? And I instantly fell. And I reached up to grab him so he wouldn't do it again. But on the cattle prongs, they have things on the side. If you hold on to that, if they don't let go of that trigger, you're stuck. You're stuck to it.
You can't let go.
No. Dude, that scared the shit out of me, man.
Oh, man.
So, I was tired of it, man. I fucking...
That was the breaking point for you.
Yeah, I didn't like that thing.
Yeah, I'll bet, yeah.
I didn't like that thing, man.
Well, it's torture.
Yes.
And that's a form of childhood torture.
Fucking sucked.
Yeah.
So I just took off. I found somebody who didn't really care about that family. They knew who they were. They didn't care. They helped me out of there. And I found a girl that I thought I liked and moved in with them. And that ended up being like a party scene trap house. And, a year and a half later, I was already in prison. Didn't last long.
What got you in prison?
Armed robberies. Just doing the stuff that I
Was trained to do.
But the thing is like you try to bring somebody in with you who's not like doesn't really like listen to rules. Like there's rules to do it right? I hate saying this. Like I haven't been in prison. I've been out of prison 10 years and I did 11 years and I'm not saying this is cool. I'm not trying to advertise it, but I'm just telling you what happened.
Yeah.
But if you have somebody who's got loose ends, who doesn't really care like you do or doesn't pay attention to everything, then they're going to get you caught. So I had somebody with me and they didn't necessarily follow my rules. They got, I don't know what yours is, sloppy. They went out on their own without me and ended up getting caught and just said, oh yeah, well, this guy was with me. So they were already on me, And so eventually just too many times people call on you or tell on you and you gotta, you know what I mean? So, look at Diddy.
Oh, man. I'm loving that one.
Too many people just talk about it. I mean, some of it's gotta be true. So the same thing.
I got it. All right. So then the gig is up and you're going.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying at this point, you've been busted. You're going to prison.
Yeah. So they want to know about the family. They want me to, give them some information. I wouldn't. And they said, you're looking at 25 years. I said, all right. They said, you're not going to say nothing? I said, I'm not. I don't have nothing to tell you.
Why would you not say anything? So were you scared of what might happen?
No, it's just another
honor code.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and plus I just wouldn't. I'd rather go to prison than fucking sit at that house again.
Right.
Yeah,
because that's
man.
where you probably they would have taken you
It's
back.
exactly where I would have got out, and then what? Fucking one of them would have got in trouble, and then I'd have to be there with them, and then fucking deal with that. Hell no. So I told the judge straight up, early retirement, just like that, man. It's in my police report. He couldn't believe it. He said, man, he took me in the chamber. He said, hey, dude, you're 17 going to 18. We're going to charge you for as an adult. I said, all right. He's like, man, why won't you budge? I said, I don't have anything to tell you, man. Do what you got to do. Straight up. Didn't care. And I really didn't, man. I really didn't. I'm not trying to be cool, but I just did not care.
Well, when you're living a life like that, to someone like me, prison, the idea of being in prison would be terrifying. The lack of...
It's not even...
Well, not terrifying like I'm going to get beat up or raped. I mean, I'd be worried a bit about that too, but more just... I have this nice life, and I'm about ready to not have it. But you've had such a crazy, not cool life.
It was better to go to prison than go anywhere else.
That's my point. That's my point. Like, you're thinking prison's better. I don't have to hustle every day. I don't have to fucking run the streets and rob people. I can just kick back, read
I was
book.
tired.
You were tired, right?
Yeah, I wanted to lay down, and I didn't care I honestly, 25 is a lot of time, and I'm glad I didn't get it, but at that time, I pretty much told him, fuck you. I don't care. Do what you got to do, and I stood up and said that, too, at my sentencing. And so...
And what'd they end up giving you?
So, I originally, my public defender, because I didn't have any money, I didn't have anybody to help me, I had nobody. My mom, I talked to her, but, like... I had already screwed that up because they made me go against her, and I already demolished that.
Classic cult behavior.
Yeah, I demolished that. I made her cry, and it was bad. And so I just, went on my own straight in. Boom. The public defender must have felt bad for me. She worked for me, so she got it down to 9 to 15. And since I was 17, just turned 18, they gave me, I believe it's called the presumptive, which was 9, right? And it's funny because when I told him to take me to trial, I'd rather go to trial because, like, you have a chance to win. Mm-hmm. And she said, no, the witness actually identifies you. She's here today. Well, come to find out, she was illegal and didn't show up that day, and I actually would have gotten... I would have gotten released. So I signed, but once you sign, that's it. He gives me the 9 years, whatever. I don't really think about the time. I just started living, man. Mm-hmm. And fast forward, we can go over other things, but I filed a bunch of appeals. I did 11 years. So I got about to my 6-month mark, and I had all these appeals going in from like 5 years before that. They let me out 2 weeks earlier because they said I got too much time. I was only supposed to get 3 to 5 years for that crime. Armed robbery, first time.
Right. And minor at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
But you still did 9. You did 9 years.
I did 11.
11.
I got caught with a cell phone.
And you were supposed to be out in 3 to 5.
Yeah, I got caught with a phone in there, and they gave me another 1.5 years, and then some other shit like tattooing and tickets. I only got one tattooing ticket, but it took like 3 to 6 months from you of good time. So I ended up doing 115 of my percent of my time, which you're only supposed to do 85%.
Well, you were supposed to do 3 to 5.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's another. I could have went back for what I don't know what it's called, but like some kind of reimbursement. But I was so happy to get out that I didn't even care or file for any of that.
Wow, dude.
And I do have my rights back and stuff.
You do?
Yeah.
Because of that?
I filed. It's been 10 years since I've been out. Mm-hmm. And the crimes happened in 2004. Mm-hmm. 20 years ago.
That's just crazy to me that, I don't know, like a judge can listen to a case like that where you just told the story. You're a product of abuse. But
I didn't say that, though.
You didn't even, their public defender didn't recommend, like, was it brought up in court that this is how this kid has been raised in the foster care system?
They knew, but without me saying anything, they can't, it doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, because you were still doing the, like, I'm not a snitch. I'm not going to talk about what happened with this family.
Yeah.
Okay, so that I guess changes what I was thinking, because to me it was...
I see what you're saying, though. Yeah,
you would think there'd be a lot of complete forgiveness almost.
Well,
and
I did
just
get
the rehabilitation or something.
Yeah, I got the presumptive, because 15 is the max, 12 is like standard, and then 9 is presumptive. So they gave me presumptive, because maybe he felt bad. I don't know. So he kind of did, but he didn't. He would have got. I probably would have got more right if they would have unpacked the whole story.
Right.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, a lot of people have excuses though too. So everybody's got the same fucking story when they go in.
Yeah, because your story would just be a story without proof.
Right.
Because you're going to go to the folks that raised you, and his kid's saying this is what's going on. They're just going to be like, he's crazy. We're running a youth program.
Right.
Here. We're here to help. We're a community upstanding. Yeah.
And they had
it'd be your word against theirs.
Yeah, and they were shining. They had money coming in with they actually had at the time it was a sheriff. He had a boxing gym over. Well, you're not too familiar with Arizona, but the sheriff had a boxing gym as well. They were cool with. So like it was just like, just give me the fucking time.
Yeah. Okay. This is all starting to make sense. Okay, I get it. But you do have to go do this. But tattooing starts to happen for you in prison.
Yeah.
So was it just like in your younger life, did you have artistic desires?
So I did. So it's funny. Every time in school I would watch like people had nice handwriting. Mm-hmm. I would try to copy it and do it similar. So every time I had like a test or any kind of homework, it was more like an art project because I didn't care what the answer was or anything like that. I would 90% of the time I would probably cheat or ask somebody for help, and I would just
Do you write in cursive or do you print?
Both, but I like cursive. I like the way it looks, and I would do that. And I really like, not Celtic. What is that?
Calligraphy?
Calligraphy, yes.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, and I would just do that.
So there was some. So what I'm hearing there is you had something in you that was attracted to the arts.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no pictures, nothing like that. Just letters.
It's art though. It's all art, man.
There's some badass
It's
writers.
aesthetic. It's art. It's creativity. All of it. Yeah. But you probably didn't recognize yourself as an artist.
I just
like to draw cool letters. Yeah.
So when I got in there, I had this tattoo right here. And once you get in prison, they approach you, and everybody's nosy as fuck, man. And they're like, "Oh, you got tattoos?" It's like, "Yeah, man, I did this one myself. Lied. I don't know why, but I lied because I did draw the letters, but I didn't do the tattoo." So I was like, whatever. Try to, first day.
Yeah.
And then by the time lunch or dinner hits, these guys who like first seen me or whatever, they got a prison machine. They got ink.
You're in there one day.
Yeah.
And they're like, here's your setup.
And then they got a kid, young as me, fucking with a stencil on 5150, ready to get tattooed. They want to see what I can do. Everything, you got to prove everything in there. Yeah. They want to see what you can do. I said, well, I've never used that kind of, they call it in there a gun, obviously. Everybody hates that, but that's what they call it. And I said, never used one of those before. And they're like, well, let's just see what you can do, man. Your work looks good. I'm like, I'd rather not, man. Hey, man, let's see what you can do. Like, starting to get, like, cocky. I'm like, okay, man, chill out. I go to tattoo this guy. They got me gloves. It's not like what people think. It's clean in there. Mm-hmm. People are dirty, but a lot of times, like, most people are clean or, like, OCD in there. You have time. You think about that stuff. Mm-hmm. So the pattern's on. I said, all right, man, it's been a while since I worked out there, and I've never used this machine. You cool? He's like, yeah, man, I'm good. I just want a tattoo. He's a kid. 4 other guys sitting in a room, maybe smaller than this, trying to watch me. And I start shaking. And I don't know you're supposed to pull the skin and hold it. So I go to, like, I'm going to just, like, lean on him and just, like, draw. Right. Like, I try to sketch it like a scratcher would. I've never tattooed before, ever. I go to put the line, and I'm bouncing everywhere on his chest. And the dude looks at me, kind of like nudges me, saying, hey, man, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, hey, I told you I'd never used this before. Like, you got to give me a second, man. Like, I've never used this little machine. And he's like, you owe us for the ink, and don't fuck that youngster up. Then they left. I told the kid, I said, hey, dude, I've never tattooed before. He's got tattoos on. I said, can you help me do this? Can you walk me through? I can do letters, man. Just help me out. Like, what am I doing wrong? He said, well, everybody else kind of, like, holds the skin tight. I'm like, all right. So he's holding his fucking skin for me, and I'm still not holding it because I don't know you're supposed to push. I still kind of just, like, doing this. It came out like shit, dude.
Oh my god.
It came out like shit. And that night I went to my cell with my new machine, and I gotta show you my leg, but I drilled lines into my leg just to. I was like a little bit intimidated. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. The next day they wanted to see this tattoo, and so I tried to do I worked all night till 6 a.m. on my leg. It's just a fucking outline, blown out, dude. And
you were getting it in there.
I wanted to show them I could do this.
Yeah.
Next morning they see the tattoo. Hey man, don't be working on anybody. You know what I mean? I said, all right, well, whatever. You know, I don't care.
Yeah.
I needed some shoes, dude, because it's just like the world in there. You need shoes, you need soaps, you need hygienes, you need food. You know, you need everything. So I needed shoes. I was tired of walking around in sandals. This guy says, hey, man, I heard you tattoo. I said, yeah, I do. He said, well, how much do you charge? I said, I need some food and some shoes. So he orders it, right? And then we get to, looking through magazines and stuff, right? And I start hitting everybody up on the yard. How do you make a pattern? How do you do this? How do you do that? And some people show me. Everybody's a genius in there.
Yeah.
Everybody's got the right way. We get to the day where I'm going to work on his leg, and I worked probably for 11 hours on this little ass piece, and it completely fell out and destroyed his leg. He got a bad infection, and a couple weeks later he's like, hey man, I bought you the shoes, I bought you that food. I know you're not good at tattooing. He said, but do you want to learn on my legs? I said, yeah, dude, I really do, but I need some more food. I'm out of food. And he's like, all right, man. So we worked out a deal to where it's he bought $20, which is pretty, I know it sounds funny, but $20 a week in food. And I just continued to work on him, and we did both of his legs.
So by the end of that, you're
okay.
getting it.
Okay, I was okay.
Right.
I wasn't badass, but I was okay.
And this is all, you're 3 months into your sentencing.
I would say, yeah.
Jesus
I would say.
Christ, what a wild ride.
Yeah.
I got to say before you continue, I get tattooers on here all the time, and my favorite stories are their first tattoo. You know? I think you just won the prize, man. I think you just won the prize.
It
that
was
story
trash,
is
man.
Yeah, but it's a great story.
Yeah.
And we're going to learn as this continues where this takes you, which is beautiful. So this guy, shout out. What do you want to shout his name out?
Mike Martinez.
Mike.
I don't even know where he's at. I have no idea.
Well, maybe he'll hear this one day, and I think I'll speak for you and say, hey, man, thanks.
Yeah, thanks. But
because we got a guy here right now that's one of the fucking raddest tattooers I've been
you.
able to sit with, and I don't know if he'd be here without you, Mike. So thanks.
Yeah.
So now I'm assuming people know you can tattoo. So you're probably getting busy.
Better, yeah, yes. And it's better than the average. So, and everybody, even if you suck, people want their tattoos. They just want to be filled up.
Right.
They just want the look. They don't care, man. They want their face blasted. They just want to look intimidating, aggressive. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I started getting a little bit busy in there, and it was just more or less just weird faces, skull faces, and letters. Letters was big time.
Right.
And that's what I like doing. So letters, I was actually pretty good at because the writing came in handy because people like the cursive. Mm-hmm. So,
so now you've got 11 years of this routine.
Yeah.
Shit. So by the time, well, maybe I'm skipping ahead here. If you want,
because I wasn't able to tattoo all the time. I had to go to the hole for 6 years. And so I didn't tattoo for assaults.
Okay.
I got caught with a phone. They send you, it's called Super Max. It's isolation, 24 hours. And I sat there for 6 years.
You sat isolated.
Mm-hmm.
No contact with anyone, but maybe someone brings you food or whatever.
And
for 6 years.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy is
6 years, dude. My whole body is just, I don't know how the feeling I'm having right now. Man, dude, you must be a strong-minded person.
I mean, not really.
But you endured that,
Yeah.
and what you endure calculates your strength. What
Yeah.
you've been through calculates your strength.
Mm-hmm.
So what might seem difficult to somebody, probably wouldn't seem very difficult to you.
Right. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
I would be losing my mind after 3 days.
It
and you'd be like, 3 days ain't shit, bro.
Yeah.
Try 6 years.
The intake where you go in there and you see, like, it's dead quiet, dude. There's no souls in there. It's death row. And it's actually, I don't mind the time there. It's actually okay. It's dead quiet.
What do you do
nothing.
24 hours a day? Do you read?
Well, so
how do you fill the
routine.
time?
I get a routine, and then
Do you let you out to work out?
3 days a week. You get out for an hour, but these fuckers are jackasses. They'll bring you out at 5 a.m, freezing cold, leave you outside in a room like this with no roof for 3 or 4 hours because they don't want to come back and get you. So like 3 days a week, you get an hour. And then but 2.5 years into that little stint, they started bringing cellies in, and I actually had a guy he's a close friend of mine still right now, and he's doing well too. He became my cellie, and we kind of wrote it out together. And you get a routine. You wake up, you eat, you go work out outside or inside. You clean your whole room. You eat lunch. You watch a show or two. I used to write a lot of letters and draw. So I would draw from 6 at night till midnight every single day. I would draw or write letters.
And when you were drawing, is it still a lot of lettering? Or are you
Yeah,
starting to do
people like
illustrations?
No, because I just didn't care for it at the time. I didn't care for portraits and stuff until I got out.
So you're drawing, but it's mainly lettering.
Everybody likes letters. I love you cards. I mean, of course we would try to draw something like you seen in a magazine, but like it just never really caught on to me.
Damn, dude. So okay, so then you do your 6 years in solitary. Now you're back into the regular population.
Now I want to tattoo again because I like draw. I was drawing that whole time,
Right.
So now I want to start tattooing again. Obviously, I need to make money. Drawing cards is only $5 a card. That only gets you so much. You can draw as many as you can. But tattoos you can get up to $20 to $100 or more. Just depends. So yeah.
So now you're back to tattooing.
Yep.
And you still got another 5 years.
Yeah.
So you got that whole 5 years. You're tattooing that whole time.
So I went 1 year on the yard, and then I did the lockdown. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I got 4 years left. So I'm on a max yard because I got the assaults on. I got 2 staff assaults. I got an inmate assault. And what's funny? I didn't really fight a lot in prison. Only 5 fights throughout the whole time. 3 of them or 2 of them were with cops. So.
Damn, dude. So, but now you're getting a lot of more time tattooing until you get released.
Right. Yeah, and that's all I want to do. Something in me, maybe that sitting time, I just wanted to keep doing tattoos. I didn't like their ideas though, but I knew I wanted to tattoo. I couldn't stand most of the people in there. I just really couldn't. I don't like their mentality. I don't like their energy. But I actually did well in there, and I ran with like more of the, I guess you could say higher up, because it's your life. I really didn't care much when I came in, so I ran. Not with the lames. So obviously, people who got a name in there, and sometimes you'd get people who just like out here, you don't like their ideas, you don't like their tattoos. I didn't do any political shit because I just refused to. I never would. I don't want to. But I did, hang with those guys, and I just don't like some of the stuff. A lot of skull faces, a lot of the cell structure.
Yeah,
Everybody loved that shit, man. But I was just like, I just rather do some letters.
All right. Well, I want to move on, but unless there's anything else, we've covered the prison chapter.
Yeah.
I think, right? So now you're a free man.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you're like, I'm going to go be a tattoo artist.
I wanted to. I had a little bit of a probation tail, and so I had to have a regular job. My wife's dad is really successful. He builds dealerships, luxury car lots, homes.
Well, maybe you got out. You're not married at this point, but
no.
You meet Ashland.
Yeah. Well, here's we skipped a little bit of a chapter. I don't know if you want to cover.
Yeah, man, I want all of it.
So I'm in the hole, right?
Right.
And I don't have anybody to write. Everybody who I did talk to, maybe 2 or 3 people, didn't they fell off. It's been 3 years. They don't really care. It's over with. I met a guy that I was tattooing. It was his girlfriend. And he said, well, we broke up. Do you want to write her? I said, yeah, I'll write her. You think she'll write me back? And the picture I saw of her, she looked kind of stuck up, man. She really did. And I was like, she ain't going to write me back, but whatever. I'll waste this last stamp I have to see if she writes me back. I wrote her and drew her a little name, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sent it out. 3 weeks go by, nothing. 4 weeks, I say, hey, man, you gave me the wrong address, man. What's up with that, dude? He's like, nah, man, she's going to write you. And I don't know if he wrote her himself to say, hey, write the fucker a letter.
Yeah, right.
A month and a half goes by. I get a letter from her, right? And I was like pretty excited, and I wrote her back immediately.
Real quick, I've gotten a few letters from people from prison who just. I should be writing all these people back. Huh? Isn't that like? I never realized the. I don't know, like
it's big, dude.
It's a form of compassion. Like they're looking to connect, and and I have written back. Not all of them though. I think a couple fell through the cracks, but I'm gonna look at that differently now when I get those.
Well, so here's the thing, man. A lot of times it's just like a cat giving food. It's gonna continue, and then it's sometimes worse because if you cut it off, they maybe turn psycho. Rochelle, my assistant, she was writing at one time 20 different people, and
she got into the game. Yeah.
So it's like, once she stopped though, everybody's writing more. Why aren't you writing? Then it's kind of like it pulls something from you, and then now you're missing it.
So don't write back.
I don't know, man. Maybe
the ones I get are just they're always the same. It's people in there tattooing, and they've seen my work, and they're just kind of like, "Hey, man,
probably
like
just fishing to see if it." Yeah,
I'm gonna get out soon. I'd love to meet you.
Yeah,
and I'm,
I mean, you would see. The thing is, you would give them such a big hope, and even if you didn't tell them that they have something waiting for them, they will assume. So I don't know. It's kind of hard, man. I don't want to give you that answer.
I'm glad I asked you because I've
maybe
always
send a picture. They love pictures.
Yeah,
send a picture
of
something cool, art related.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And maybe say in there, hey, I don't expect me to write you back, but I feel for where you're at. I hope you do well.
Yeah, if you
Here's
wanted
a picture.
To, yeah. You could, yeah. You can even get Vistaprint to do a bunch of postcards, give everybody the same one. Hey, did you see, I don't know if we should say this one, on Jesse James? Nah, I'm not even going to talk about it. We'll talk. Do you remember when he sent a bunch of prisoners a certain type of porno magazine because they were talking shit about him?
No.
No? Okay, so the white guy...
He sent them, I'm assuming, homosexual magazines as a burn.
Yes,
okay.
Because they were talking shit about him on his channel. Like, a bunch of prisoners were writing hate mail to him. And so he sent a bunch of those magazines to all those guys in there. Out here in California, actually.
Yeah. I actually... I don't know if you remember Michelle Bombshell. Mm-hmm. That's the girl he was with when he was with Sandra Bullock, and he got caught cheating with her.
Oh, okay.
I did a lot of her tattoos.
Really? Nice, dude.
So I don't know Jesse, but there's a weird connection.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah. That's a whole nother story there.
Yeah. I actually tattooed Len Edmondson. Do you know who that is? He's a biker builder. He did the biker builder off with the OCC. He's got the best baggers. Okay. Super badass, yeah.
Very cool.
Did both his sleeves.
Where were we? So
writing letters.
Oh, writing letters. Oh, how you met your wife?
Yeah. So this was in 2009, and we just started writing letters, one a week, one a month, one a day, two a day, and then till it was just routine.
Yeah. So do the math there. How many years are you guys writing letters before you get out, roughly?
I'm gonna have her send me a picture right now. Did you see that picture? There's a table at the wedding, this size, with letters up to here.
Wow.
So
thousands
at the wedding. They kind of set it up.
So it went on for years.
Yeah. Great idea. Yeah.
This long term, never met in person. Are you able to meet her in person?
Send me the letters from the wedding. So it was about 6 months goes by, and she said, "Hey, can I come see you?" She was doing criminal justice at ASU. And so she was interested in that. She still is. We go to all the prisons, Alcatraz. We've gone to Shawshank. We just go to all kinds. She's interested in it, right? Into everybody's stories. Well, she was interested in just coming to see it. Not really necessarily me. She wanted to come and be around it. She wanted to see it. So about 6 months later, she comes, visits. She liked it. We hung out all day. And she said, hey, can I come back? So, yeah, I have nothing else to do. So,
Let me check my schedule.
Yeah, so like once a month turned into once a week, once 2 times a weekend. It just continued. And she said, well, how do you think a relationship would work? You know? And I said, well, I mean, it'd probably suck for you, you know, but this is your life for the next 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 5 years.
Fuck.
And she just buckled up.
Damn.
Yeah.
Fucking hats off to Ashland. That's some real love right there. You know, to go through
No,
that.
seriously, yeah.
You know,
she didn't even know me from the, like, I could be like a piece of shit. I
Right.
could be leading her on. Haven't you seen that show?
Mm-mm.
They got prisoners, like, they have a full show dedicated to people who are pen pals, and the prisoners get out and marry them and then just blow them off. They use them for their money a lot of times or whatever. Sometimes they hang out, whatever. But 9 times out of 10, they just get out, do their own thing. They have a whole show to that.
Well, she must have been going off her intuition, and her intuition obviously paid off because you're not
I was
one of
surprised because I'm short too. So
Oh man, dude. All right, so that's how you meet your wife.
Yep.
You get out, you have probation, you have to get a real job, but you want to be a tattooer at this point.
I do. But go ahead.
Well, I'm just gonna say, let's go through that. I want to know like how now we're there.
I can't do it yet though. They won't allow me to do it because they wanted me to actually work. I was on not a STG but a security threat group type of thing. To where they have monitoring. I have to monitor everything. Tattooing was not what they were going to allow me to do. So working with their dad is what I did first.
Doing what?
He designs and
Well, what did you do?
I do construction.
Okay.
You know, that's it.
And then you got to do that for how long before you're
It was
cut?
another 6 months until I was done.
And then you're done. Now you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And what happens next?
Well, during that time, I was reaching out to shop after shop and just getting the door slammed in my face. You know, they hear you. So a lot of people are cool with prison artists, but a lot of people don't care about them. They don't like, at least when I started. Now they're accepted. You know, like Carl Grace. Dude,
Yeah.
So nobody wanted me to work there. They don't know, because they look at your background. They don't know if I'm going to steal from them. They don't know if I'm still doing drugs, which or anything. I don't do drugs or any of that, but they don't know that. You know, I'm on, they're still watching me. So, like, if they are doing something wrong, they don't want me there if my probation's coming.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I still, even though I did that 6 months, they still were watching. It's crazy. Eventually, one of my friends who passed away wrote text Rochelle, said, hey, my buddy's looking for a spot to tattoo. And at the time, she was looking for an apprentice and an artist. She said, yeah, send him in. So when I got there, I didn't know she was looking for, I didn't know she was looking for an artist. I was actually going for an apprentice. I was like, fuck it, this is the only way I'm going to get in. So I went for the apprentice job. She didn't realize that, and she hired me on as an artist. Now, I'm not saying that like this because like she did the wrong thing or like she just didn't do her background check or any of that. I kind of lied to her. Actually, I did lie to her. I told her I had my machines. I told her I apprenticed. I told her I could tattoo. She wanted to see my work, but all I had was drawings at the time. And I said that they got stolen from my old shop, right? So she is a good person. She took me on. It was a trial period, right? But I went for the apprentice spot. You know what I mean? And she gave me the job, and I didn't tell her until a couple years later. So every day that I'm there, I'm basically doing free tattoos just to learn on people, because the machines out here I did not know how to tattoo with. I suck, dude. I could not tattoo with these machines. It was impossible for me. I actually built something that was more like a prison machine, and I still couldn't do it, dude. It wasn't working, man. It wasn't like, have you ever used one of the homemade ones?
No.
So you can do it just like a pencil. It goes in like if you brush. You don't have to put pressure. It's very easy.
Well, it's single needle, right?
Yes. When I'm using these machines, I don't know that you have to push pressure. So all my stuff is like
bouncing off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't sticking. So for a solid 6 months, almost a year, I practiced on people. And I said,
And Rochelle's probably giving people are telling you,
no, man.
no one's really helping you out.
No, dude. They just, I don't know, man. I don't know why I would ask them for help and they just be like, oh, just keep practicing, man. Because I'm not an apprentice. They think I'm an artist. That I'm from prison. You know what I mean? I should be good. They like my drawings.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would reach out to other people. I reached out to a bunch of big names. I paid a couple big name artists to watch them tattoo on another person. I paid that client's,
Pay for their tattoos,
right,
so
to
you could
watch
sit
them.
there. Yeah.
But I would sit there for like an hour, and I just like, man, I can't do this because I felt like I was bugging them. I'd pay them and just say, hey, thank you, and I'd leave. I couldn't get it, man. I just couldn't get it. I don't know why. It just wasn't happening. I actually did quit. I went back to work for a little bit.
So that's interesting. That's very interesting.
I just couldn't get it, man. I don't know what it was.
It's just interesting because of the work you do now. So obviously
it's a lot of hard work, dude.
Well, there's a light switch that goes on here somewhere. I want to find it. So when does that light switch occur? When does it change?
So I didn't like doing the construction. I hated it. I'm very thankful. I'm going to put that out there. I'm thankful for the job and everything that they've done for me. But I just didn't want to. So I went to the swap meet. And then Ashland would talk shit. She's like, I can't believe you're there. That's embarrassing. What are you going to do there? You're not going to make any money, blah, blah, blah. Just in my ear all day. I would show up Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'd go down there tattooing for cheap, man, just trying to get practice. I eventually go back with Rochelle, or actually I go to one other place, Extreme Tattoo, really high-end shop, and tons of walk-ins. I just didn't like the walk-in style. So I went back to Rochelle because I remember I was able to draw whatever I wanted. It wasn't just flash. And she let me stay there, and I was bouncing back and forth. And that's when she said, I said, well, you going to let me do something on you? And she kind of laughed at me, right? Because she's got all realism by high-end artists. And she's all, you only do black and gray, you only do letters. And I said, well, what the fuck do you want to see? And she like embarrassed me kind of, you know what I mean, in front of my client. And she wasn't doing it on purpose. She just said, I want to see that. She was just talking to me, but I got embarrassed. So I found, obviously, I found him. He was already getting something. I knew he wanted something like with the Jokers.
By the way, one of Prince's really good friends, now a good friend, is sitting in studio with us right now, Justin. And that's who he's referring to off to the side right now. But so you find Justin, and what happens then? Because now Rochelle's kind of like poked you a little.
Yeah.
And now you're like, really?
Well, I knew he wanted color, a little bit of color, so I got to practice on him for that. But he also always talked about Jokers and stuff, and I like Jokers. So it's kind of realism if we did a realistic Joker. He wasn't ready for it, so I found one guy who wanted a Hannibal Lecter. It took me 4 days to tattoo this Hannibal Lecter, but it came out pretty cool, and she's like, wow. And so like I was like, all right, let's find another one, and then another one, and then another one. And
that's interesting. So so the jump from lettering black and gray only to color, realism, surrealism, horror, whatever, all that stuff you do now happened because of that comment from Rochelle.
Yes, that's just one table.
I'm looking everybody that can't see this. I'm looking at his phone
I'll turn it up
at all the letters that him and Ashland wrote to each other in the time he was in prison. There's probably...
This is just one table. They have another one this big.
So we're talking thousands of letters.
Yeah, I mean, 4 years of every day. Sometimes 2 times a day.
What an interesting... I've been married for 23 years. Been with my wife 25, 26 years. Love her to death. Amazing woman. But that's just like... That's such an interesting way to bond with another soul. Because it's there's got to be some depth in the... You know what I mean? To write back and forth with some... Because when you write... You have to think about what you're going to say. When you talk, it's good too. Intimacy, being there in person and talking, looking in their eyes.
Yeah.
That's got its own really powerful way to connect. But writing's got another one, right? Because you got to write what you really mean. You got to think about it. She has to read it, think about it, write back. So I look at all these letters and I think about this unique bond of intimacy that you must have with your wife that it's just different than anything I'll ever have.
We just argue now, though.
You do with letters?
No.
You should. I tell you, sometimes me and my wife get in a fight. I'm like, you go upstairs. I'm going to stay down here. We're going to text this fight out.
Yeah.
You know, because texting it out, it's
Yeah,
like,
no.
you can't just spin off as quickly. You know, you have to actually be like, delete that word, change it up a little bit, maybe make it even meaner.
Yeah.
You know? That's funny.
Yeah. Some of those, or most of them are more, there's minimum 5 pages. But there's time that she typed out 20-page letters.
Wow. So each letter, I'm looking at all those envelopes. I'm thinking there's a page in each one.
No.
My God, dude.
Yeah. She was working full time too.
There's
so,
a fucking book or an
yeah,
art show
there
or
is.
something in there.
There's a lot in there. They're still there.
Like what to do with that?
You could do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, that's now this is me always thinking about what, creative thoughts. Never mind. But there is something powerful there that I wouldn't know how to unwind that, but I need some time to think about that. That's different. I've never heard a story quite like that. And I'm sure you're not the only one. I mean,
no.
There's a lot of people in love, married today, whose relationships went like that for 20 years, maybe, but I guess I never thought about it, that can be how you fall in love with someone.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yeah, man. It just, like I said, you need something in there, and that was light. So it was, it helped me. Actually, every day it was, nice to look forward. I was looking forward to those letters every day. I really was.
Do you feel like in your marriage, because, in a healthy marriage, the idea is that we're equal, and I owe you what we agreed on, and you owe me the same in return.
Yeah.
Do you have moments where you feel like you owe her more?
I did in the beginning, and I feel like, I'm not saying that I kept score, but I did feel like that in the beginning because she does come from a really well-off family, and they took care of me all the way through.
Well, not only what they've done since you've gotten out, but that's a salvation figure in your life.
Right, yeah, it is. I felt that way, yeah.
That's different than most marriages. Most marriages, you don't look at your wife like, you saved my life, possibly.
Yeah.
But you...
She quit going to the criminal justice because of the stuff that she saw me go through in there. Because there's a lot of other stories in there, too. She's like,
I don't want to take part in putting people in there.
Yeah, she's like, I just can't believe how and that's not for everybody, but the system, it is what it is. If you got a little bit of money, here's a perfect example. I didn't have a lawyer for the first round, right? Well, for the cell phone case, they wanted to give me 7 years. As soon as I got the lawyer, it dropped down to 6 months.
Wow.
That's how it works, man. It's just straight up.
It's a business.
It is.
Whew. God damn, fucking 7 more years for having
a phone? At the tail end of my sentence, 2013.
I didn't know it was like that. I thought you...
Not anymore. They don't charge you anymore. And you can have a tablet or some sort of phone type of thing now. You couldn't in 2013, though.
Damn, that's harsh.
Yeah.
That's fucking harsh. Yeah, that's a whole nother... makes me want to go down the corruption side of the prison system, which... I don't know if we have enough time to go through that, but I mean, I think what you're saying and other stories I've heard, it's wildly corrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a business.
And that's all it is.
You got people on one end, the lawyers that are making money. You've got this huge organization, prison system organization, where there's massive budgets being paid out, and there's people becoming multimillionaires.
They have
doing this.
I didn't mean to cut you off. They have a prison. I don't know what state it is, but a inmate who is doing good and doesn't have any tickets. Tickets are like when you get in trouble. They have a class for prisoners to tattoo. Didn't you send that to me? Oh, okay.
So they have a skill when they get out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I mean, that's the point, right? They call prison, you're supposed to reform people, rehabilitate people. But yeah, one of the biggest things that's lacking, and I'm sure you agree, is teaching a skill.
Yeah, I cut hair in there.
Or cut hair, but the point is, you get out of prison and you don't have any skills, it's pretty likely you're going to go back to prison.
Yeah.
Because what's the skill you have? Well, it's probably the shit you were doing when you fucking went in.
If you spend enough time, though, most of the people who do a lot of time, they come out and do well. People going in and out for 2 or 3 years, I'm not saying they can't do good, but they're more likely to go back. But anybody who sat down for a certain amount of time, they get their head on straight. Maybe not, but most of the time.
I see what you're saying there, though. When you have enough time to kind of sober up, not from drugs and alcohol,
Yeah,
but
just
to
straighten up.
to process what happened,
Yeah.
to get over it, to start being like, that's behind me now. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do next.
Yeah.
You might not do that in 2 years,
Yeah.
but you will. Most people more likely will do it in 10
And
or
a lot
20.
of times, the people spending a lot of time have the motivation that somebody out here won't. So they'll get the job and they'll be successful quicker because they're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And, you got to understand, I work for 50 cents in there for cutting hair an hour or doing a tattoo for $20 to $100. You come out here and tattoo, you can make 2,000 in a day. It's just like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Hell yeah, I do.
You're more hungry to work. I still do 6 days a week.
Really?
Yeah.
I was going to get to that because it's hard to say how long you've been tattooing, but what you told me
Right.
earlier is you would say 6 years full-time professional level
Yep.
tattooing,
Mm-hmm.
but you obviously have all this other tattooing happening and it's hard to add all that
It
up.
is. It is. Maybe a good solid 12 years.
But you're a 6, so yeah, what am I saying here? I mean, you're tattooing a lot is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do. And
6
I
days
wanted
a week
to get good, man.
is a heavy load.
Yeah, and it's.
I don't even let my tattooers tattoo that. They come and try to do that shit. I'm like, no. And when they get
But
really
I wanted
good,
to get good, man.
yeah. No, I get why. I respect it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, damn, you're a hard worker.
Yeah, I just. I couldn't. You know what I mean? I was having a hard time, so I just figured to just work more. Actually, one artist did tell me tattoo every day. That was, and I listened to that, and so I did.
To a point.
Yeah.
I think that person's right. But at some point, a life balance. If you don't get the life balance,
I had that reality check too.
yeah, because I've owned this guru tattoo for 21 years. I've had well over 100 tattooers come through here.
Right.
So I've seen this story kind of happen a lot, and you get guys and girls that are just that way, and depending on where they're at, if they're developing, I sort of let it ride.
Yeah.
But at some point, I'll step in and be like, "You've got to exercise.
Yeah.
Do you have a hobby? I notice you don't spend much time with your wife and kids.
Yeah.
Like, if all that breaks down, if your body breaks down, your health breaks down, your marriage breaks down, all this work you've been putting in all this time
For nothing.
It's not for nothing, but it's a lot of wasted effort. That balance is the optimal place you want to get. And I heard you just say you got checked recently. What happened there?
2 years ago, if somebody would have told me that, that would have been good because I had a pretty big scare. Like, you don't get up, you don't walk around, you don't drink enough water, you forget. You work 10 hours and you maybe had a snack. No water, and every day, that's bad. And I would work out, so like you're dehydrated. I had some kidney damage, and they're like, they didn't know what it was.
I'm going to have a sip of water while you keep talking.
Is this for me?
Yeah. Let's all have a sip of water, man. I'm just thinking of how often I've had a day like that.
It's important, and I didn't think it was that important, at least for me, because I burn a lot of my metabolism just burning in my mind, I guess, while I sit here. Mm-hmm. It's weird. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. But anyways, had the kidney damage. They freaked me out, man. Mm-hmm. I went to 2 other specialists just because I didn't believe them, and they said, "Oh, I don't know what to tell you, man. You got pretty bad kidney damage. I don't drink or nothing. I don't do drugs." And so somebody told me, well, my uncle had that. They weren't drinking water. And I was like, all right. So I take all these tests for like 6 months to 9 months to a year. And they're like, no more protein for you. And I work out, so I need protein. Mm-hmm. But man, it was bad. It was a rough year. Anyways, it was 2 years ago. I took out my protein. I started drinking water, and nothing was fixing. The labs were still bad, showing bad. I was like, all right, I don't know what's going on. I started doing my own research. Drinking water and doing 10,000 steps a day turned stage 3 kidney disease to completely nothing. So I didn't have it. I just wasn't drinking water, and it's just like I was drinking every day, like alcohol. Mm-hmm. So the doctors told me, okay, your labs are fine, like nothing's wrong. That's irreversible. And the only thing I did was drink water and do steps in the day. I was sitting too much and not drinking water. Mm. But for a full year, my body was broke down. Mm. I was struggling, dude. Now I'm fine. Right. I do 220 grams of protein a day. I drink a gallon of water a day, every day, no matter what. Mm. And my labs are perfect. I don't have any kind of diseases. They're full of shit. They just didn't take the time to look or find out what I was doing differently. Mm.
Yeah, that's now you're getting into like our Western medicine and how inept they are at chronic disease.
Yeah.
They're really good at acute injury.
That's what they said. I had acute, which is irreversible, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get into that because I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I don't know if it's reversible or not. The point being, our Western doctors aren't taught to ask you about your lifestyle.
Right.
Right. You know, and that's why my wife, she owns a wellness center up in
I do like
Carlsbad,
those.
and
Yep.
she had her own medical issues when she was a young girl. Different story. But the Western doctors had nothing to offer, led
Yeah.
her down her own research.
Mm-hmm.
She starts figuring her own health out. And now she's just, she's like a revolutionary. You
Yeah.
know, she's fighting a war for people like you. Like,
Yeah.
let's come to her place, and the doctor's going to sit you down and be like, all that. What are
Right.
you doing every day? That's the first thing I need to know.
Yeah.
What are you eating? What are you smoking? What are you
Yeah.
fucking drinking? Like, let's start there, you know?
So when I originally, we can get off this topic. It's not that big a deal. But to your point, like I realized that I needed sleep. I needed, water. I need to do my steps. I sit too much, but I still do 6 days a week. But I just do that and I make sure I do everything right. But oh man, what was I going to tell you? It doesn't matter.
Well, that's interesting, though. So you got checked on the life balance issue. You got your health back in order.
Mm-hmm.
Still tattooing 6 days a week, which still is going to be, there's still a life balance problem there in my eyes, which is, you're
Yeah.
getting your water. Yeah, you're getting your exercise. But the human mind and soul needs nature. It needs love. Like, when do you pack in?
So I get 30 minutes of grass in the morning. I do my grounding.
Right.
I do that for 30 minutes. I do my steps out there barefoot and, do my workout. I don't know. I'm making excuses to show that I'm trying, but I don't know.
When do you make time for romance? That's a busy schedule.
Yeah, I mean,
On your one day off.
yeah, maybe.
And you're probably drawing all day.
Yes. After chores. Yep, you're right.
Well, take it from me, 31-year tattooer buddy. I know you're
I
still
have
hungry.
to catch up. I had to catch up. That's my
You've
excuse.
caught up, dude. I've seen your portfolio. You have caught up. It's time to take another day off a week. All right? Trust me, it's going to benefit you much more than the working
Yeah.
6 days a week. But hey, that's going to
No,
be your
I know.
journey.
It's something I'm working on this year. It is. I
Okay.
told myself it's going to be 10 years in February out of prison. I told myself 10 years hard work, and then when we get there, then I'll go ahead and relax. So February.
Damn,
Yeah.
you're almost there.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this all goes. Another thing I'm seeing in you and hearing in you is, tattoo artists and artists in general a lot of times lack discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because they come from lifestyles where discipline wasn't really always necessary to do okay, to pay their rent or to feed themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You could kind of be undisciplined and those things still got done.
Yeah.
And so when I got in, I was, a lot of people were of that nature, and I'd been in the military. So I came in with this discipline.
Yeah.
I got up at 5:30 a.m. I went to the gym.
Yeah.
I went home and ate healthy food, and I worked, and I went home at night. And, I was disciplined. And it took me quick, because I was just outpacing these people.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's different. Now
Yeah.
I'm around a lot of disciplined tattooers.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, you coming in with this level of discipline, you must have. I'm just hearing you say that, like I said, I'm going to work my ass off for 10 years. I'm done in February. It's like I hear discipline in there, and I respect that.
Here's my daily logs. I log everything for
Oh my
my
God,
food,
dude.
my workouts, my weight. Because I take health serious. I know that if I'm not healthy, I can't do this for a long time.
Yeah. Your
So-
body breaks down. You don't get a tattoo 6 days a week anymore.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. What a story, dude. Thank you for sharing that. Maybe it is easy for you, but I think for a lot of folks out there, it might not be. But, realize, this is inspirational. There's a lot of people who need to hear a story like that, and apply it to their own lives when they think they've got it tough. And when life is shitting on them, hearing a guy like you that spent 6 years in solitary confinement, I don't know, man. Maybe you don't got it so tough. Think about it. Perspective. But let me ask you a little bit about forgiveness. What are your feelings towards the people that did these things to you today?
I don't. It really don't even think about it. I never got mad at them. I never went in there and into prison and said, "Oh, fuck this."
You don't have
I
anger
never
towards
cared.
them today.
No, not even then either.
Mm-hmm.
Because actually, I put myself in there. If you think about it, because I ran away and did my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, I put myself in there.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty responsible way to view it. But I mean, I would say you were conditioned to become what you became
I believe that. Yeah.
by
Yes.
adults, by people that were taking advantage of you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That's why I'm kind of thankful.
Well, I was going to get to that because it's a fucking wild ride. But
Yeah.
would you be who you are today without it?
No, because before them, I really didn't have. I was like one of those. Okay, this is so many different stories in this. So my very first family, like, it was you don't look at people, like the kids don't look at the people in the eyes when you're getting talked to. You look down. So I had tons of work with them too. I was getting abused by them as well. So when they got me, I was like, you know what, dog, when you lift the hand and if you can tell if they've been hit before because they go like that.
Yeah.
They couldn't even do that to me, and I would do that. So I was kind of, I don't know the word, man. It just really secluded.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know the word either. PTSD or whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it. But yeah, you're conditioned that when you're around adults, get ready to get beat up or
Yeah.
get ready to something bad. Not good. Good things aren't happening.
But I wouldn't even like this conversation would have never happened at that age. Like, well, obviously when I was younger, but I wouldn't talk in class. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I'd be in the corner, like of the school. I'd take the farthest. I still like to sit in the corner, but I'd take the farthest chair away from people so I didn't have to talk. I wouldn't look at people. You know what I mean? I just growing up like and being that person, I don't think I'd be happy.
How did you get, like, sitting here with you today, you're looking me straight in my eyes,
Yeah.
you're talking fantastically, you're articulate, you're intelligent. What did it just evolve, or did you do something special? Did you read some books? Did you go to therapy? Like, how did you get...
I'd say prison opens you up. It just allows you to. There's no bullshit. Like people's gonna call you on a lie. There's no lying. You get found out real quick. That's a big thing. Like just, I hated being taken advantage of too, man. I would when I was working with those guys, like getting taken advantage of. I hated it. You know what I mean? I felt like I'm a good dude, and I would always, even if it was my last couple bucks, I'd buy somebody, whoever was with me, we'd split the food. Like, it doesn't matter, but to be, like, taken advantage like that when you work really hard and you think you've earned something and you don't get shit for it, like, it makes you want to stand up and be like, dude, that's enough. And in prison, I didn't allow that. It never happened like that.
So your time in prison, reflecting on all this, you healed yourself, basically.
Yeah, it gave me confidence, man. It's, it did. It gave me confidence.
So that kind of leads me to another part of the story that I'm interested in, which is this, I'd like to hear your thoughts around, I believe that everything that's happened to me in my life was orchestrated by some power bigger than me.
Yeah.
I don't ever use the word God.
Universe.
Yeah. But and I say that just based on the crazy coincidences that have occurred. So first few times I was like, that's a crazy coincidence. And after like the 100th time, I'm like, okay, man, this is all specifically custom designed for me.
Yeah.
So when you look back on all these events, do you feel that way?
Yeah.
You do.
I know for a fact. Like I said, when I went in, I'd never once. I mean, I had bad days, but it was actually like I was happy. I felt like I finally get to live my life now. Start living my life. Because from growing up to 18 was always was pressure on me.
So that fuck up with the court system that got you to do 11 years was a gift.
It was. It was. That's why I said I never got mad. I never once got mad. I didn't. Just never got mad.
Man, you're a unique dude. I mean, I understand you've made it to where you're at now, but I can't believe there's not a phase of anger and resentment.
I mean, I hold a lot of anger. I do, but it channeled out differently, probably in the art.
You held or hold?
I held it, and a lot of the times it was like I hated getting hit, I hated that. I did hate that, but I don't know why I never got mad at him. Of course, if, like, I've gotten fights where I fight back and I'm angry, but I don't know, I just kind of hold it in. And yes, I do let it out once in a while, but I work out, I try to channel it, put it in my art, I channel it. At least that's what I think. I don't know. I don't got all the answers. Still figuring it out, man.
Well, me too, buddy. But this is what the show's all about. You
Yeah.
know, all of us are trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's rare to meet people that are actively trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
A lot of people just live asleep. They just let the world happen to them. They don't.
I lost too much time, man.
Yeah, I
you
can
know
see
what I
that
mean?
in you. This urgency you have.
I do. I can't. It's hard to sit still.
Yeah.
These guys they're like, dude, this guy, I can show you my itinerary for the 2 weeks, and it's just like from the time I wake up, every hour on the hour is itinerary. It's completely set for me to be completely moving and doing things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I hear you too. You're like, I lost 11 years. I got to move faster than other people.
But that goes back to what you're saying. You need to kind of slow down and enjoy, because otherwise it'll go by too fast.
Right.
So this year, even just starting now, like I'm kind of slowing down and just kind of try to accept everything.
Well, the fact you're here, I think what I'm hearing
Yeah.
is 2 years ago you wouldn't have time for this
Yeah, I
shit.
turned down a few people, and they were cool people. They're cool. They had good shows. I didn't want to do it, man.
You weren't in this phase
No,
yet.
I saw you. I talked to you. I really thought it was an awesome. What do you call it? I don't even know what I was thinking about. Invitation. Awesome invitation. So.
Well, I'm honored to have you here, man. You're inspiring me just hearing your story right now. I'm going to whine a lot less after today. That's for sure. Well, let me get. All right.
So-
What? I'm sorry. Were you going to say something?
No, we covered the forgiveness. I think we did. I'm not sure if I answered it the way.
I think you did. I mean, I was expecting you to say something like,
Fuck
I
these
read
clowns.
The Power of Now, or I
Oh.
went to therapy, or I'm a very religious man,
Yeah.
but you did it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate asking for help. So maybe that's a curse, but I don't know.
And I'm really happy to hear that you don't have that resentment. I didn't know if you were going to tell me you did.
No, I actually talk to my mom every single day now. My real mom.
Dad ever show back up?
My real dad died, and then my stepdad, the one that I had issues with, he actually killed himself. You know what's crazy is we patched things up while I was in prison.
You and the stepdad?
Right. And we talked, and he was fighting cancer. And I got out. I said, well, I'm going to come see you, man. I want to shake your hand. And the dude broke down and cried. You know what I mean? He's like, I don't know how you got through. He said, this cancer is nothing compared to what you might have been going through. I'm so sorry for what. He apologized, It was crazy.
It's so rad he did that.
It was.
Yeah.
And I thought we had a really good time. He wanted me to tattoo him. So I went out there for a week. I did a full sleeve on him. I did some on his back too. And this dude didn't walk around with the shirt the whole time I was there. Everywhere we went, they had to tell him to put a shirt on.
So proud.
Yeah.
That's fucking dope.
And
Full circle, right?
Yeah.
Come around full circle, and apologies are made, and love returns.
yeah, it was pretty crazy because he's never, growing up, that dude, he was a cool dude to my mom, but he just, I don't know if he didn't like me or what, but anything that any kind of interaction was just pure hate, it felt like. And so it was crazy
He probably
to see.
had his own demons.
He
probably
killed
had
him.
his
He
own.
killed himself 2 weeks later.
Wow, he was
Yeah.
making amends. Probably
Yeah.
taking accounting of the world he had created for himself and the effects it had had on everyone around him, and probably being like, I'm going to be going soon, so I'd like
Yeah.
to say some.
But he treated me
apologies.
really good, man. And he treated my mom really good, in the last couple years.
Wow, dude. Well, let me ask you. Let's just switch it up a little bit. But what, in your opinion, obviously you love tattooing as an art form. Like do you paint or sculpt?
So
or,
I've done 2 paintings.
So you're
They came out really good, though.
You're okay. So you've done a couple paintings, but you're kind of a tattooer.
I want to paint. I just, I don't know, man. Maybe subject matter. Maybe I think I like the challenge. So, I don't know. Maybe give me a challenge.
My question is, what do you think makes tattoo special or different from other art forms?
I just feel like, I mean, they all have their own challenges, right? I just think that, I don't know, man. I just something draws it. I just really like maybe because I like clothing and appearance. So when I see somebody with a really cool piece, it just looks like jewelry out there, you know, or a nice piece of clothing. I don't know. Maybe I'm not saying the right thing, but when I see it, it's just appealing. And I really like doing that. I really like dressing, you know, with the shoes next to nice shoes, like a badass sleeve with some really nice shoes on. It looks really good to me. So I don't know. It just pulls me in. But I'd want to paint though. I know I keep thinking about painting. I'm gonna pull up a painting. But yeah, I'm just painting. That's it. I tried 2 times. They came out good, but I don't know. I guess maybe I didn't make the time for it.
Let's talk a little bit about technique. What kind of machines are you using nowadays? I'm going to guess rotaries.
Yep. I can't use a coil.
Okay.
I know you're probably going to be mad about that.
No, I'm all rotary too.
Yeah.
Bishop for the last, I don't know,
nice.
10 or 12 years. What are you running?
So I do have, that's kind of funny. I made my own. So do you know Chris Rook? He does
Heard the name, but don't know him.
Okay, so he's a builder. And he built a cool machine that I really liked. And then after years of using it, me and him have made one to fit me. So I have a different motor, and it's actually smaller, but it's my design, his build. And so that's what I use for my color. And it's going to sound funny, but it's a 2.9 that I pack color with.
Interesting.
Layers. And that's pretty much all I use. I've bought in a new machine. Every time something comes out, I'll buy it. But I just always go back to it.
It's working for you, dude.
Yeah.
I was looking at some of your work today on your friend Justin here, and on
Field work, yeah.
Gosh, I'm spacing it. Rebecca.
Rochelle. Why did I say Alicia?
Rochelle. Is it Rochelle?
Yes.
And on Rochelle's legs. And then you were telling me as I was looking at this work, there's black tribal underneath.
He's got the black tribal. She's got other style portraits that I covered with new portraits.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is your inks, right? So
Yeah.
I use Revolution ink,
Yep.
Nico Hurtado's ink, which
Yep.
it's new to me. I've only been using it for a few months now. I love it, and I have tried everything, and I kept over the years going back to I'd like have 7 different brands. I like the
Yeah.
yellow from this one. I like the
Yep.
white. And I haven't found I just think it's going to be my ink until the end of my career. And then I found out when you got here, you use Revolution as well.
Yep.
And I'm just like, and you're telling me you're packing white, and I'm looking at it healed too, over black tribal, and I'm just like, well, how the fuck are you doing
Patience.
more than one pass? Is it taking a couple?
Sometimes it'll take 2, but a lot of times 1. He sits good too, so that's a big thing, you know.
It's impressive.
Yeah. But no, Nico's. I appreciate you guys taking care of me as well. For me, it works. It just goes in, and I think it's because it's a lot of muted colors, and I work with muted, so I guess I understand the way to lay them next to each other. Sometimes when I use a more of a brighter color, it looks a little bit waxy, and I can't get the same appearance. I guess I don't know.
I agree. Revolution ink settles into the skin, and the skin looks like normal skin again. And
Right.
I've used some other brands that it's almost like you're looking at plastic or something under skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean by that. And it might be brighter, and a lot of people might say that's what makes it better, but I like the inks that settle into the skin, and it looks like natural skin with ink, and it's hard to put it into words, but I do agree.
Another
Good stuff.
thing I don't like though on some of the other brands, and not to let knock them down, because everybody has at least a few colors that really work, because you know they've been around, they know what works. But I don't see the red popping through a lot of his colors. Do you know what I mean? Like when I'm putting in that white, it just looks like white. It doesn't look like it's popping through, like the red dotty look.
Right.
It doesn't do that for me.
Like opaque.
Yeah.
It's like opaque, like you're putting on paint.
Yes, and it's.
Well, it's probably why you're able to stomp over black tribal.
Yeah, I gotta put a couple layers in when I initially put it in, but yeah, it settles. That white is just in there, man.
Fuck yeah, that's dope. I mean, what do you think about all this talk in the States about FDA regulation of color ink?
You know, I see a lot of it come and go. I just think it's just trying to riled everybody up. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, I'd say that too, but they did it in Europe.
Did they take it away?
Yeah.
I thought they were.
I don't know about every country, but there's a lot of countries right now you cannot use I don't know about every color, but
because it has the lead, or
yeah, they're doing some studies on a lot of the inks, and I don't know enough about this, but
yeah.
Maybe they're just studying the really shitty ones that are coming in from China,
Well,
which gives them the right to say, we have found these bad things in these reds and blues, so no one can use reds and blues. But are they really looking at, Nico stuff, which is handmade here in the States? Are they analyzing his stuff? And I don't know the answer to that question.
Right.
So I don't trust our government, to be honest. And it feels, and then I think of guys like you, and me too. I mean, I'm more towards the back end of my career.
Yeah.
But like
I
the
don't
threat.
know, man.
Well, thank you. But point is, if they do it here, well, you're probably just going to get super good at black and gray, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm thinking it's just kind of like just like pre-workouts and stuff like that. Sometimes, they'll get banned because they have a certain green. Then they find a way around it. Just like beast mode. Have you ever used beast mode?
No.
The stencil stuff?
No.
So for a while they couldn't get any of the ingredients, but now they got it and they're back and they changed something and now it's okay to use.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. They're going to ban it. All the ink
They'll figure a
manufacturers
way.
will have to go back, do it a different way, and then boom, we get our ink back. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that more. I've been hearing too much noise about it.
Yeah, I did read into it, but I thought it was just like more or less like it'll shut down and come back because I thought they had a petition that people were signing and they got it reversed or something.
Oh, I didn't know that news.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
Well, dude, thank you so much for your story. What are you looking for over there?
I'm gonna try to show you a painting, man.
What kind of painting?
I'm actually pretty.
What are you painting with? Acrylic?
Yeah. It's not as. Anyways, do you have time for a little bit of information?
Yeah. What do you got?
So in school, right? I didn't get to graduate. I had good grades, but I was actually like low end on an elective. And electives aren't that big of a deal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
mean, I agree. It's like you're getting good in math and reading and history, and you get a bad
the
grade
basics
in PE.
So let me ask you this: do you think that you should not be able to walk senior year because of an elective, failing an elective?
That's a good question. I mean, my auto response would be no. I mean, come on, they're not.
And I felt the same.
Yeah.
So I was a D- in a class, and it was elective. I didn't really care. I always showed up late. I always had an issue with the teacher. We didn't really see eye to eye, and they used to put your name and the grades on the wall. I don't know if they do that anymore. They probably send a text, but I had a D-, so I thought it was cool. I was getting ready to walk senior year, and a week later I got an F. These are last grades. There's nothing left. This is your grade. You don't get to walk. So I pulled the paper off the thing. I said, hey, what's up with this? She's all, you're failing. I said, well, what can I do? Can you give me some extra credit? And she's like, I'm not going to talk to you right now about this. You don't listen to me in class. We're not going to talk right now. I said, what the fuck? Like, okay. Sat back down, and it was just stirring in my head. I walked back up. I said, hey, there's got to be something I can do. I'm doing A's and B's in all these other classes, right? You're the only class that I'm failing. Isn't that kind of weird? She said, you talk too much. You're always late. And you're giving me a hard time. I said, that's just personal stuff. Give me something to make my grade better so I can at least try. There's nothing I can do for you. I said, fuck you. She called the principal and them. I was already out the door. I said, fuck this. Because you have to go to summer school, right? If you don't graduate. But I wanted to walk, so what does it matter? I'm not going to go. I start walking. Security comes, picks me up. We got to take you to the principal's office. All right, cool. I get down to the principal's office, and he sits me out front. He's talking to her, trying to figure out what's going on. Calls me in. He says, hey, I don't know what's going on. I don't know your guys' relationship. I said, last week I had a D-. That's passing, right? And he said, yeah. I'm at an F right now. I didn't do nothing. Nothing happened from that day to this day. And I guess I showed up late. So that's like, where does it go on conduct maybe? I don't know. I don't know how school does it. So that's a mark off of my conduct. So that goes as a grade. He says, I can't do anything. I said, you're the fucking principal. He said, dude, don't talk to me like that. I said, look, man, I just want to walk. I've worked hard. I have A's and B's except for this class. I want to walk. I'm not coming to summer school. So if you're telling me right now that I'm going to keep this F, then I'm out of here. He calls her back. I sit outside. Calls me back in. Nothing he can do. This is her decision. She is the teacher. I could maybe override it, but you're walking in 3 weeks or whatever. You know what I mean? What are you going to do to change it? If I kick you out of the class, that's more conduct. Just give me a project or something that I can do to maybe bring up my grade. He says, I'm sorry, man. Summer school is what we have for you. I said, fuck you. I got up out of my chair, right? And he goes to put his hand on my shoulder. And at this time, I was just ran away from the family. I'm still kind of like a lot of animosity. You know, I'm living with a new girl that the family's all into drugs and stuff. So I'm kind of like leaning into the, not gangster, but like a rougher crowd. Mm-hmm. He grabs me on the shoulder. I say, man, don't fucking touch me, man. He said, Prince, what's wrong with you, man? I'm like, dude, are you going to give me something I can bring my grade up or not? He said, I just told you I can't. I said, well, I'm fucking out of here. I turn around, he grabs me again, we start fighting. Oh. Right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely not walking now.
No, I'm definitely, I don't get to graduate. I told him, when he came out to the cop car, he said, hey man, I don't understand what's going on. You're such a good kid. You're good grades. I said, dude, I'm never going to use that fucking class ever. Why the fuck does it matter? I'll never use that class. I went to prison. I went to jail as a kid for a couple months, got probation, got out. You know what class it was? Art.
I was just going to say it, actually. That's ironic.
Yeah.
That's ironic. And it's also, oh man, people got to be more compassionate, you know?
It's like, man, I was late, yes. But I guess that if you're at work, if you don't show up to work,
I'm kind of with you.
late.
Like, dude, art shouldn't be the reason you don't walk.
Yeah.
And it's funny that today you're a famous artist.
That's why I told you.
Yeah. That's a good one. Hey, whatever, man. It goes back to originally what I said. Like, that occurred, which drove you further towards bad behavior, which got you to prison.
Yeah.
Like, in a weird way, that principle was the key moment to to saving you. Yeah. That decision he made, if he had let you walk, who knows, right?
Yeah,
so
it would just been more like bullshit, like, you know.
It might have been a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was on the wrong path.
You were going that way anyway, regardless of graduating high school. You were going that way.
Yeah, but I wanted to, because like when I set a goal, I actually do. Like, I'm super hyper fixated on whatever it doesn't matter what it is. I always try to accomplish the goal, and that was a goal. I got a GED, but you know, that's just so crazy that, like, I told him I would never use this in my life. I told him that.
And you kind of do.
I do every single day.
Life loves to do that to us.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a few of those where I'm just like, I know exactly what's going on, and then life circumstances change, and I have to later go, I was completely wrong about that.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
You'll never see it in spot on, though. I mean, sometimes you can.
You get older, you start listening more, you know, and if you don't listen, the universe loves to... I listen carefully now because I've seen the times when I didn't listen. It was giving me hints, and I look back and I could see those hints, but I didn't listen, and then the price or the punishment got worse.
Yeah.
Life delivered me something that was even more...
because you weren't listening.
Exactly. So now I listen more. I'm like, what do you want, man? I'll do it. I just don't want any more pain or less pain. Well, man, I just think your story is beautiful. I think it's, again, a story of amazing redemption. You know, I want to say I really respect what you've done with your life. You could have easily not. A lot of people in your shoes wouldn't have. You'd have every excuse in the world to be a loser. You know, you could blame those people. You could blame the system. You could blame that principal. You could blame that teacher. You're not blaming anybody. You're going out and taking control of your own actions. What's next? I mean, I did hear, it sounds like a new life balance chapter is opening up. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we close it down?
Well, everybody keeps hitting me about the machine. And so I actually am going to create something. It's what I use, so, you know, I'm not saying it's the best, but everybody, like I'm telling you, every time I go to a show, they always want to know what it is I'm using, and they want one. And so I have a bunch of prototypes, because it took like 3 and 4 years, and it probably take a couple more to like really nail it down to the way that work for other people as well. But for me, like, this works out perfect. And I think that we will create something, whether it goes big or not. I don't really care. Like, that's my project I'll probably be working on because just so many people want one. It's crazy. It's like,
I want to try one. Man. Man.
they're really tiny, man. I had to make something that I was used to, like small, like the prison machine. So I made it really tiny. But I mean, it just buries color. It pours it in. It like shovels.
Wow.
It's effortless. I could do it with just like that. You know what I mean?
Interesting. It's a rotary, but does it have springs?
No springs. It's I had
Direct drive.
Yes. I had my guy send me all the info because I don't know the specs. I just know what I like. So as far as like 2.9 throw, it's got very little very little give. So some people don't like that, you know.
Well, that's what I work with.
Oh,
I
is
work
it?
with
Okay.
Bishop. They're all.
Yeah. Well, do you
direct
use a
drive.
5.0 or 3.4?
I use all of them.
Okay.
But I don't use something below 3 for my color work. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's direct drive. It's vertical rotary. I got Mind Games actually signed. We haven't signed yet, but like I'm gonna work with them, and they actually a luxury cologne. Start at like $500, but they're really nice. And it's a chess set, so each cologne is a piece to a chess set on a board. Like it's like a collector's type of thing. So if somebody collects cologne, their niche, that's kind of like fun.
The unique way of doing it.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. I love clone. I love chess. I'll have to give me some of that.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, well, let me ask you, where can people find you?
Mostly Instagram. I do the TikTok and stuff, but
Are your books open? Can people call you?
Okay,
Can
yeah.
they DM you for a
yeah,
tat?
or
they
call
have
me
to-
my assistant,
It's all on your Instagram, how
Yeah.
to do all this?
Prince Art and Ink.
And how long are they going to have to wait to get tattooed?
I usually try to cut it off at 3 months because I do like a 2-week trip wherever, and then I get back to work. So 3 months, give or take. And I keep open days sporadically, just in case when I'm back from travel, if somebody wants to come in. Most of my clients are from out of town. It's really crazy. So
Well, your level, that's pretty common.
yeah.
Yeah. When you're doing work like you, people fly in for it.
Shows, a couple different shows. We got Vegas in 3 weeks, and then whatever, possibly All Stars. I'm not sure yet.
Very cool. Well, buddy, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your time.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you.
I really appreciate you as well. And everybody out there, if you're into color realism, surrealism, horror-related themes, doesn't have to be, but this guy is what I would probably call a master.
Thank you.
In a very short amount of time, kind of shocking. It really is very shocking, but I think I know why now, because that was my biggest thing I wanted to figure out about you today is in that short of time, how did you get this good?
Yeah.
And now I know you just worked twice as much as everybody else. So that 6 years of pro tattooing, I would call it 12 in a normal human's life. So thank you for all your time, and everybody watching, thanks for tuning in. Keep those DMs and subscriptions coming, especially the DMs and, well, the subscriptions too. You guys have been so kind and given me a lot of motivation to keep doing the show. I really am so grateful for that, and appreciate you for that. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
Chats and Tats with Della Vedova.